Switchcraft is brought to you live 3 days a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern and on Saturday at whatever time I can get to it. Tune in live at twitch.tv/runjumpstomp. This episode of Switchcraft is brought to you by Jonathan Hill. Support Switchcraft and my other content for as little as $1 over at patreon.com/runjumpstomp. Awesome. And then I'll mute that. And we'll make a new track. And we will arm that one. Okay. Oh, wait a second. What do we got for music today? Let me just click on that. It's going to be... I don't have it on here. Before we go any further, I want to make sure that I include the music. Podcast audio, that's where it is. Music, approved. Okay, I have to add one thing to this page, so just give me 1 second, guys. I'll put on the music while I'm waiting. There we go. So just let me update a page real quick that I need to get that done before we move on. So where is it? It's under custom pages, and then music, and balloon trip. Okay, so no, it was note block. Corneria Star Fox remix by Note Block. And now let me find that. YouTube. Corneria Star Fox remix Note Block. And copy link address. Update. Okay, I think that I did that correct. Yes, I did. Awesome. So now we are all set. We are ready. You feel like dancing now, Alice Mir? Alice Mir, your name reminds me of a documentary that I watched about earthquakes, because there's this place where there was an earthquake and the land increased its height during that earthquake by 15 feet. I believe it was in a place called Elas Nam, and that's what your name reminds me of. So now when I see your name, I think of earthquakes for whatever reason. All right, let's do the sponsor, and then I'll intro the music, which will just take a second. Okay. And I might not do it like this each time, just because it might be confusing for me. All right, here we go. What is this? 213. Episode 213 of Switchcraft is brought to you by Audible. Get a free book and directly support the show by checking out Audible. They have thousands of books from every genre. You're definitely going to find something that you like. Just head on over to runjumpstomp.com/audible. And I'm going to recommend a book for you, Snow Crash by Neil Stephenson. I finished that book probably last year, but man, it is a really, really good book. It's a techno thriller. Has to do with video games and stuff, and you should definitely check it out. Again, that's runjumpstomp.com/audible, and the music that you are about to hear on the audio podcast is Corneria Star Remix by Note Block. Let's go ahead and jump into the show. There we go. I'm going to try and change the intro music often. We'll see how that goes. It may not work. It may not work. And that was muted. Okay. Although it looks like I peaked during that. Let me just look real quick. No, it's okay. Hey, Jay Hartley. Hey, what's up? All right. I can close that. Insert a new track. Arm it. Episode 213 of Switchcraft is brought to you by Audible. Get a free book and directly support the show by checking out Audible. Oh my gosh, they have thousands of books from every genre. You're definitely going to find something that you like. Just head over to runjumpstomp.com/audible. There's a couple different ways that you can play Snow Crash Wario Ware Gold. There is I finished that book probably last year, but man, it is a really, really good book. Mash, where you just thump on the buttons with video games and really that's you should only definitely check it out. Again, the A button. That's runjumpstomp.com/audible. And then there's Twist, which uses the gyro built into on the audio podcast for you is Cornelia Star Remix by back and forth in order to go ahead and jump into the show. Things. And oh, double audio, idiot. Yep. Sorry guys, I didn't notice because I had it muted. We will remove that track. There we go. We'll try that again. All right. Twice the show, half the time. Now let's just skip, and that way I can hold this up. All right. So I want to start off today's show by talking about WarioWare Gold, which I downloaded the demo for it on my 3DS this morning, and I played through the 4 different modes that are available, which is not really true. It's actually 3 modes, and then the 4th mode combines all of the modes. The first mode is the mash mode, and in the mash mode, you just use the D-pad and the A button, and that's it. There's nothing, it's not complicated stuff. And if you've ever played a WarioWare game, you would, of course, you would expect it to be fairly simple. So you just use the D-pad and the A button. The second one is Twist. That uses the built-in gyroscope in the 3DS, so you can tilt the machine back and forth in order to make things happen on screen. During that, you also need the A button from time to time. And then there's the touch mode where you use the stylus and you touch the screen. And then finally there's the ultra mode, which takes all 3 of those and combines them. I had fun playing it, and the only other WarioWare game that I've ever played was whatever the one was that was on Smooth Moves. I think it was the one that was on the Wii, and my family and I laughed our butts off playing that game. It was a really fun game, but I never had any nostalgia for the WarioWare games. I never played them on the DS. I never played them on the GBA, and I heard that they're very, very good, but I just always kind of ignored them. And the reason why I first grabbed a hold of the Smooth Moves on the Wii was because that particular game, everybody could see what was happening, and it made it a lot more fun. Whereas while I did enjoy playing WarioWare Gold on the 3DS, that's a very solitary experience. And because it's such a solitary experience, I didn't find myself laughing like I did when, I had to hold the Wii remote up like an umbrella, where that voice guy came on and he was like, hold the Wii remote like an umbrella, or hold it like a nose, or you have all these different ways, and you're standing up in front of your family and looking like an idiot. It's really fun. This, while still fun, doesn't have that. And for me, that is the core of a WarioWare game. But that's only for me because that's the first one that I played was WarioWare Smooth Moves on the Wii. So what do I think overall of WarioWare Gold? If you are a fan of the quick micro games, it's definitely something you should check out because I did have fun. And I liked how it just kept ramping up the speed and going faster and faster and faster. And finally, I was, it got too fast. I couldn't keep up with the game. And because I couldn't keep up with the game, I would lose. And then it would, try and sell me the game and take me back to the main menu, unlock a new mode, and I would try that. And so I went through all 4 of those modes and I had a lot of fun with it. So I would definitely recommend it. However, what I would say is I wish that this were a game that were on the Switch so that I could play it up on the TV with my family. That would mean that they would have to take out the touch stuff, and that would be fine with me. Get rid of the touch stuff, add in the motion control stuff, or double down on the motion control stuff or the button pressing stuff, or make it multiplayer where, you've got one person with one Joy-Con, one person with another Joy-Con, and you're kind of working together to get something done. I think that that would be a lot of fun. And another thing that I would like to see happen with WarioWare Gold is this is the kind of game that absolutely should be on a phone. This could be Nintendo's best mobile title. It definitely lends itself to playing on a mobile device. And yes, the 3DS, I understand it's a mobile device, but I don't always have this with me. In fact, I rarely take this out of the house, whereas I don't go anywhere without my phone. And I would absolutely love to play the WarioWare game on my phone. It would be incredibly fun. They would have to take out the mash section where you have to press buttons, but the ability to always have it with you, and it's the perfect game for a mobile device where you can sit down and you can play through 5, 6, 7 things in the span of a minute. It's really, really fast. And it really fun, and I would like it to have like online leaderboards where I'm competing against other people for the high score in a certain challenge. I think Nintendo really missed their mark here with WarioWare Gold. This should have been something that they asked DNA to make for mobile phones, and they should also have the same thing on the Switch. I understand that MASH would work really well on the Switch, would not work at all on the phone. Touch would work really well on the phone, would not work very well on the Switch unless you had it out and not in the dock. But I think that there's definitely something that they could have done to make WarioWare Gold so much more than it already is. There we go. Thank you guys for letting me know of my nonsense. I'm using new software, so it's easy for me to make a mistake there. All right, so let me see. How do I name this? There we go. So that's intro. And that's... what in the heck is that? Sponsor. And then... what did I talk about before WarioWare Gold? I have an intro. I don't know. I have to look. I don't understand what this is. So, okay, that's WarioWare Gold. And then this will be Unreal. TF Wagner, you're right. It's not that my thumbs are too big. I have normal thumbs. Although, look at this. My thumb is covering my whole head. There's definitely something wrong there. It's, I don't like phone games, but I'm not saying it's for me. I'm saying that would be the best place for WarioWare for everybody, in my opinion. All right, let's see. So that's muted. Okay, I can start recording. All right, over at Resetera, we've got a post about Unreal Engine 4.20, which is a Unreal Engine is an engine that a lot of developers use because it is available on most platforms. If you make a game in Unreal Engine, it's not a lot of work to take that game and port it to the Xbox One, port it to the PS4, port it to a mobile device, port it to the PC, and yes, of course, port it to the Nintendo Switch. And there's new Switch updates that are coming with this new version of Unreal. A big game that uses the Unreal Engine is Fortnite. Fortnite uses the Unreal Engine, and that's why you can find it on so many different platforms. So there's big updates to both the Switch and mobile performance, and I'm not going to go into the mobile performance, and I'm only going to glaze over the Switch performance stuff because I don't know what most of this means. So this is exactly what it says. It says Switch updates. We have significantly improved Nintendo Switch development by releasing tons of performance and memory improvements built for Fortnite on Nintendo Switch to all Unreal Engine developers. So I know that there's a lot of people out there that are like, oh, wait a second, does that mean that Fortnite is going to be improving? And while I'm sure that it will be, it's not going to be from this because Fortnite has already been getting these improvements. So just the things that Fortnite was already using is being released to anybody who develops using the Unreal Engine. So these are the things that they're talking about. Support for dynamic resolution and temporal upsampling. So dynamic resolution basically means that your resolution, maybe you're at 720p and then 15 I'm going to stick with Fortnite for an example. Maybe 15 people come in on the screen and they're all fighting and shooting at each other and there's particle effects going around and people are building structures and blowing up houses and all of that stuff is happening on the screen at the same time. The game can lower the resolution from 720p to something lower in order to keep a stable frame rate. In the case of Fortnite, I believe it's 30 frames per second. Temporal upsampling, I have no idea. So let's move on from there. Low latency frame syncing and for controller input. I don't know what that means. Significant CPU rendering optimizations. This is really important because the Switch does not have the most powerful CPU. And anything that you can do to make the CPU more optimized for your game is going to benefit everybody. Now, you might look at a game and like Octopath is another game that uses the Unreal Engine, and you might look at that and say, okay, well, even though they have improved this, why would they bother to patch a game like Octopath? And chances are they won't. It's not super important. That game isn't really taxing the Switch, even though it's gorgeous. But why would they update it? They would update it because if the CPU is more optimized, then the Switch battery would last longer. So CPU rendering optimizations are a very, very big improvement for the Nintendo Switch, and it's a very important thing to happen. They also have improvements to threading, better texture compression. Well, that's pretty cool. I'm assuming that means that the textures will start to load faster. The current issues with Fortnite having really weird texture issues aside, I think that that's pretty important. Support for memory profiling, shrug, I don't know what that is. Back buffer support for 1080p while in docked mode. I don't know what back buffer means, but okay. And then they said, and many other fixes. So most of this, I look at it, I'm like, I really don't understand this stuff. And that's because I am not an engineer. I'm a science teacher, so this stuff is beyond me. But if you know what this stuff does, please feel free to let us know so that we can tell everyone else. You can let me know by emailing me, runjumpstomp@gmail.com. You can, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can let us know right down below underneath the show. And you can, of course, get a hold of me on Twitter at runjumpstomp. You can call and leave a voicemail at 260-RUN-JUMP. That's 260-786-5867. And I'm sure that there's other ways that I'm not thinking of right now, but there's lots of ways that you can fill us in on what this stuff is if you understand that kind of stuff. Overall, I think that the updates to the Unreal Engine are important, and I think that we could see some improvements in games other than Fortnite, just because Fortnite already had these. And I know that some people say, "Well, Fortnite kind of runs like garbage." I don't agree. There's definitely some issues, especially with Season Five's update. Um, but overall, I think Fortnite runs really, really well, and it is very impressive what Unreal or not Unreal. Oh yeah, Unreal. It's very impressive what they were able to do with Fortnite in the Unreal Engine. Save, and we'll disarm that and mute that track. Insert a new track, and the next thing is going to be Sakurai. And I should probably save this, eh? File, save project as, and episodes raw. SC 213, I think. I've forgotten now. What episode are we on? 213. Yes, 213. Save. Thank you, Vaxer. Thank you for getting all those links in there. I appreciate it, man. And we'll arm that so that we can record it. Anything Sakurai is exciting to you? Well, I can't go into too much detail on this because I don't want to steal other people's what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to steal other people's work, so I'm just going to refer you to this URL. Paste. There you go. So now you can see it. All right. Mr. Sakurai, who most of you probably know as the guy who is in charge of the Smash Brothers series, was recently interviewed by Famitsu. Now, like it says right here at sourcegaming.info, they're the ones who translated the interview into English. So big thank you to them. I'm obviously not going to go through the whole thing here on the show, but I wanted to let you guys know about this, and I'm just going to do a couple of quick takeaways here. So Mr. Sakurai has been working on this. Some people say that he is one of the hardest working people in the industry, and this guy works like crazy hours in order to get his game done. And I have heard people talk about him and say things like he puts his work way before himself, which is unfortunate because like working on this in the interview, he mentioned that he's already lost 6 kilograms, which doing that in my head, that is 1 kilogram is 2.2 pounds. So that's, he's lost like 12, 13 pounds or something like that. And if you've ever seen this guy, he doesn't have a lot of weight to lose. So like, he's ultra skinny already. And that's because he doesn't take care of himself. He works on the game really, really hard and just focuses on that. Now, the reason that I want to talk about this is because he was asked about what comes next, basically. Overall, they said, look, you said the gang is all here with the newest Smash. What is there for you to go to after this? And he said, I don't think about that. I'm not a young guy anymore. And every single time he makes a Smash game, he said, this is going to be my last one, and I'm going to pass the mantle on to somebody else to take over. But then he comes back. But he says, for him, the key is to ignore what is going to happen later and just focus on what's happening now in order to make the best game that he can. So I get what they're saying with the idea of you can't say the gang's all here again and have that be like this big unveiling, because it feels like it's always going to have to be like that from now on. And when I think about it, I feel like Smash Brothers Ultimate is going to be the last Smash game that we get. Not that we're not going to have Smash games to buy in the future, but they'll all be Smash Brothers Ultimate. I feel like this is going to go more towards the games as a service route, where we buy Smash Brothers Ultimate and we have an account and we buy DLC for that account. Maybe that DLC is new characters. Maybe it's new skins for Mario. Nintendo has shown that they have all of these different outfits that they can have Mario wear in Super Mario Odyssey. So buying new skins for characters is something that they could do to continually monetize this platform. But if you buy Smash Brothers Ultimate, you own it. And I think that that would be really the best way to do it. And then as you go forward to the next Nintendo system, whatever that is going to be, you bring your account with all of those things that you've unlocked forward to the next system. I think that would be really the best way of doing it. It would allow Nintendo to continually monetize the same game over and over and over again without making us rebuy that game, because really, what are they going to do to change it? And yes, the changes that have happened between Smash Brothers 64 and Brawl and Melee and Smash for Wii U and 3DS, yeah, they made big changes there. But I feel like, from what I've heard from people who've actually played Smash Ultimate, is that this is kind of bringing the Melee and the Brawl and the Wii U versions all together and distilling it down to what's the most important part of it. And I know that there's people out there that say it'll never be as good as Melee, and I understand that. That's fine. But you're going to find yourself in the minority, because a lot of people are going to be playing Ultimate. And if you want to continue playing Melee, that's fine. There's no reason why you shouldn't, if that's what you want to do. But I think that going forward, the Smash series is just going to continue to update and give us skins, new characters, new maps. Although I hope that they stay away from maps, because I don't want to buy a map and then not be able to play on it just because the person that I'm playing against didn't buy it. So that kind of thing would bother me. Maybe every character that you buy comes with a map or something like that. I'm not sure how they could do it, but I think that overall, if you just make it a lot of cosmetic stuff, it's going to be a good way to play. And that makes a lot of sense when you look at what Mr. Sakurai is saying, where he has to just live in the now and not worry about the future. I think that that's because the future is now, and now is the future. Oh my goodness, that sounds crazy. There we go. And we'll save and insert new track. And I gotta go, guys. I gotta go. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lightning around the rest of this, and it's gonna be a short show today. So lightning round. Mute that. You are welcome for sharing this interview, by the way. Oh, thanks, Wyvern. I wasn't sure. I couldn't remember who sent it. All right, I gotta go. So let's record this quick. 1, 2. That's it. Okay, that's easy. All right, we've got 2 quick things before we get out of here. I'm going to throw those in the lightning round. Number 1 is that, speaking of future compatibility, Game Freak says that Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee may be forward compatible. Now, when I read that, the first thing that I thought was, you mean that we'll be able to play this game on our next Nintendo platform? And that's not what they were talking about. What they're talking about is that there has been... here's the quote there. There have been many times where you couldn't bring Pokemon over from previous titles. I imagine that created some bad memories. I want to try and change that if I can. As for the 2019 title, we're working with the idea that everyone will be playing on their own Switch. It'll have the same kind of feeling as the previous games on handheld systems. So there's two things here, that one thing that I think is great and one thing that I think really makes me nervous. The first time that I bought Pokemon, I bought a single cartridge, and I was going to share it with my son. And I made an account and started playing. And then my son was like, "Can I borrow it?" So I took the cartridge out, handed it to him. I said, "Go ahead." And he had to delete my account in order to make an account. You could only play one account per the cartridge, and that really ticked me off. That really ticked me off a lot. And it almost sounds like that's what they're saying, which I don't like that at all. The other thing that they're saying, which I think is good, is that they're working on the idea that if you catch a Pokemon in Let's Go Pikachu or Let's Go Eevee, when the 2019 game comes out, you'll be able to transfer those Pokemon forward. Now, that doesn't seem like it should be that big of a deal, because they have been doing that for a while using Pokemon Bank, which is this thing where you spend $2 a year and you're all set. You don't have to worry about it. So we've got good things and bad things in that same quote, and hopefully we'll hear more about this in the future and they can clarify, because I don't want to have to, if my son and my wife both play Pokemon on his Switch, and he can play, but she can't because we have to have another Switch. That just goes against everything that I've seen on the Switch so far and would really tick me off. And it would make me not buy the game, although my son would probably talk me into it for him. All right. The other thing in the lightning round is Guts and Glory First Look. This is a very, very gory, physics-based emulator where you drive a vehicle and people are shooting crossbows at you and silly things like that. I did a first look at it. You can find it over on my YouTube channel at youtube.com/runjumpstomp. I laughed quite a bit when playing through this. Do not let the children watch this first look. And I even I edited the video and made sure that I said something about that ahead of time so that you guys wouldn't watch that with your kids in the room. But anyway, that is the lightning round. Before we get out of here, I want to thank Damon Corso Photography. They gave the show 5 stars over on Apple Podcasts. You can review the show too. Really, really easy to do and a great way to support the show. They said, "Hey, Bill, I just wanted to say I love your show. You have an amazing production value, which I appreciate greatly, with a great radio voice. Your show is short, sweet, and to the point, and just the right amount of episodes per week. Keep it up, and your listener base will keep growing exponentially. Cheers, Damon." Well, thank you very much, Damon Corso Photography. If you want to review the show, that is one way that you can definitely help with supporting the show. But there's a lot of other ways that you can support the show. Don't forget that the full show is usually longer than what the audio is. And if you want the full show, you can either watch us live over at twitch.tv/runjumpstomp. You can watch after the fact over at youtube.com/runjumpstomp. And if you're looking to support my content, head on over to runjumpstomp.com/thank-you. All of the links there will help me create more content. Big thank you to everyone who has already helped me create content. And music for today's episode can be found over at runjumpstomp.com/music. Any music that I've ever played on the show is found over there, so make sure that you check that out and subscribe to those people on YouTube or buy their music because they're awesome. So I got to get out of here. I will see you all next time. But before we go, I need to stop and thank the chat. The show just would not be the same without them, and I actually went the last couple of episodes without actually thanking them, which was silly of me. So we've got Vaxer, Banana Nanan, Beats Alive is here. We've got Corona G8, Decaf Smurf, Ellis Mir 1, Jay Hartley 17, Joel Mead 24, Kirby Geek 4, Mikey B Playing, Mr. Cool, Red Luigi, Fisto, Pudding, TF Wagner, Rest TV, Trev 125, VNK, Virgo Pros, Wyvern Rip Snarl, CXC Bad Blood, and of course the Lurkers. Thank you everyone for hanging out with me while I record the show. You are awesome. I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.